Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a great day. In today's video, as you guys can see by the title, I'm giving you guys some tips on how to win your games faster and much more easily than you guys are doing before. Many of you guys may be legendary, but this will also help you guys for next season, which is going to come out soon, also known as Season 8, so feel free to tune in for that. But other than that, let's get on with the video. Before the video starts, I was the previous #1 holders for 2 seasons. This season and last season, but then I only had it for a short amount of time and decided to drop it. I'll probably show the screenshots right about now. I'll probably only do one, but I'll see if I can find it out. As you guys can see, you probably recognize some of them, such as Aphilas, Zealous, Wally, Hacks, and more. Most of you guys were competitive players. They even had Parka in that list. But right now, the #1 holder is Crystallis, as in the moment that I'm recording this video. He is, having some drama around him that he is account sharing. Nothing is confirmed yet, but it seems like the evidence is true. But other than that, let's get on with the video. So for the first tip I have for you guys is using the proper loadouts. Many of you guys on my streams or even in my comments of my videos, you always ask me, what are the best class setups? And for that, it is very easy to recognize which ones are good and which ones are bad. Some examples are the ones that I'm going to list right now. So this one right here, feel free to take a screenshot, by the way, is a Cordite class. As you guys know, Cordite is probably one of the most broken guns in the game right now. I'm not sure if it is getting a nerf with the following season that's coming on July 10th, but I hope it does, because everywhere you go, you see that gun. Even in competitive, like in the Omen League at some point, everyone had 10-man Cordite setups, which was really bad to see, because, the game is all about variety and using different guns, but if we see a whole 2 teams actually using the same exact gun, that's when the gun is pretty much overused and broken. So yeah, that's the first class you can use. Remember to always use Dead Silence and Ghost, because in this setup right now, most people are using UAVs, which I know you can shoot down, but if you have the perk Ghost, it can easily remove you from the situation of shooting down UAVs for yourself or your team. I would recommend shooting them down just to help them with your team, but if you're selfish like some people, you can, feel free to use that. Also, Dead Silence is also a key perk, which I always remind you guys to use. It is one of the perks that doesn't allow people to use and, hear you coming from multiple directions, which is really good. The other class setup I have for you guys is this one. As you guys can see, it is an RUS class setup, which is the gun I love the most in the game. I've been using this gun for such a long time. I also didn't forget to mention that I'm using the SMRS for both the setups. These take down UAVs, counter UAVs, and they also take out enemies, which is a huge plus in my eyes. But other than that, let's get on with the second tip, which is, now I know this is kind of a bit iffy for some people, because you can't really pick out the selections of which modes you guys want, because this leads to having a VTOL in Search and Destroy. There's no reason you should have a VTOL in a match where you're going to get Search and Destroy, because it's impossible to drop a VTOL. So once rank selection does come out, this will be more valid towards that situation. But the main score streaks that I would use in rank are the following that I'm about to post right now. The reason why these are good score streaks is because they are very crucial towards you and your team, and they're very fast paced, so you can just cycle up towards them really fast in a TDM like I am doing right now on the bottom. In this case, I did not use the Shark RC, I used the Predator, so you can feel free to switch it out for that. But the reason why the UAV is good is because that can help both your team and yourself spotting out the enemies unless they have Ghost, which is where the Shock RC comes in. By this, I mean if a player is using Ghost to cover themselves from a UAV, you can use the Shock RC, which is also from the same class of Cold-Blooded, which means the Shock RC can affect them and will stun them, causing them to get the kill. But with the recent nerf to the Shock RC, I would recommend staying right beside it to get the automatic kill, because they're allowed to tap their screen to make it get the stun effect go way faster. And then that leads me to the counter UAV. Let's say that enemy ends up throwing down a UAV, you can automatically throw down that counter UAV, which will block their minimap. This will allow you to go around the whole map if you're not using Ghost, and will allow you to backstab them and probably get a few kills or a whole B cap if needed. Another setup you can use is the one I'm about to show you right now. This is more towards domination and hardpoint because of the molly. With the molly, you can molly out certain breakpoints of the hardpoint, which doesn't allow the enemies to come in, which is really crucial for your team and yourself. If they do end up going through, you can just shoot them easily and you can get the kill. Now that we're done with tip number 2, let's get on with tip number 3, which also ties into tip number 4. This tip is known as getting a proper 5-stack and having proper communication. When it comes to having a team, it is very hard for certain players to actually find a good team, which is why most of you guys may be losing certain rank games. You guys are either getting bad teammates or solo ranking, which is, fine when it comes to, certain points. But if you're trying to grind high up in the leaderboards, I recommend a good 5-man stack. With this, I would recommend only playing with good players. If you are playing with friends and you know they're bad, I wouldn't really recommend playing with them. Yes, you could play with them, but make sure you have a few other players that can carry the weight of him so you can cancel each other out, if that makes sense. Which leads to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is having proper communication with your team. Sometimes when you're playing, I recommend using Discord when it comes to sweaty teams, because with Discord, you can call out everything you guys do live, which, allows your team to know where everyone is, how low people are, or what you guys should do and what your next move is. But if sometimes you don't feel like being in VC or anything like that because it's one of those days, you can always have a team that's able to use the chat box. With this chat box, you can tell them to rush A, rush B, rush C, or even camp when it needs to be. Now that you guys know all that, let's get on with tip number 5. So tip number 5, we have having proper rules. These rules are used in both comp and rank and will see every day of your lives whenever you play COD Mobile competitively. With these rules, there are 3 of them. There's OBJ, Slayer, and Anchor. With OBJ, that is the person that plays specifically for objective, as in playing for point or holding an objective down while the rest of your team slays out or anchors. When it comes to OBJ, you are most likely always playing the slow side of the map and controlling a point, or you are legit just defending the point if the enemies rush you in. For example, let's say I'm on Nuketown and the objective point is Yellow House. If I'm an objective player, I'm going to be staying in Yellow House, defending the point, while my other team, the rest of my team, is either slaying out, or I have another teammate with me that's also playing OBJ but for a different entry point. That is what an objective player does. They don't go for the kills, they don't go for the stats, they just mainly hold a specific point in the map while the rest of your team, supports everything else. As you're having 1 to 2 players playing OBJ, I would mostly prefer, having 2 OBJ players instead of 1, but that is just my opinion. Most players also do like having 2 OBJ players, and most competitive teams also have that, so I would recommend 2. But other than that, let's get on with the role of an anchor. An anchor is basically a person that controls areas of the map in order for their team to have a favorable spawn in relation to the objective. So let's say I am in the map known as Raid and I am in Rank, and we only have red spawns. That anchor would most likely go around to get the kitchen spawns, which is where the next hardpoint would be. The reason for this is because that person wants their whole team to spawn there, which would get them control of the next hardpoint, which could lead to victory. This role, in my opinion, probably has the most pressure on them because everyone on the team is going to rely on that person to get their spawns, which is the most crucial part of the game, because without the anchor, you won't get spawns, and without you getting the spawns, you will lose points, which will make you lose the game. Now that you have 3 out of your 5 players playing a specific role, 2 of them being OBJ and 1 of which being Anchor, you have 2 players without a role. These 2 players are going to have to be the Slayers. In order to be a good Slayer, you must have good gun skill, good movement, and good sense of IQ. If you do not have these skills, you must replace the players on OBJ and they should be Slayers. The reason for this is because the Slayers' job are to keep the enemies out of the point and prevent them from pushing in, so this creates less pressure for the OBJ player. If this is not the case for you, I would recommend practicing becoming a Slayer, because a Slayer will always be needed in every objective game, no matter if it's domination or hardpoint, it will always be needed. Slayers also tend to end up with the most kills, so if you are one of those people that are very kill hungry, I recommend giving you this role. But if at some point, if this does happen consistently, where the OBJ or the Anchor ends up having more kills than the Slayer, that means that there's something wrong with the composition. So make sure you guys switch around who has what role in order to fit the personality, not the personality, but the traits of the player, and who has the skill required for the role. Don't just give anyone a random role and just say you're doing this, this, and this. Make sure they actually qualify for the role. It's like basically giving someone a job where they have no qualifications for the job, so when they actually come to the job, they don't know anything about what to do. Anyways, guys, those were the 5 tips that I can give you guys to win your ranked games much more easily and faster in Call of Duty Mobile. If you guys are new to this channel, make sure you guys leave a sub. And if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you guys leave a like. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. But before I do end off on that note, make sure you guys check the description and follow my Trovo. Trovo is a new streaming platform which many of your favorite Call mobile YouTubers stream on, known as Noah, Little B, Godly, and more. Also, I don't know how I could forget this, but Bobby Plays, he's the leading person with the most followers at the time that you guys are watching this on Trovo. Ferg has also started streaming there, not exclusively, but he has been trying the app out, so feel free to tune in for that. Also, make sure you guys follow my Twitter. We are so close to hitting that 600 mark. Not really close. I think we're at like 505 or something along those lines the last time I checked. But other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night, whichever time you guys are watching this out. And before I end it off, make sure you guys tune in for the next few videos I have for this week. They're going to be complete bangers before the next season comes out. But other than that, peace out.